Welcome to Insurance Claim Radio, where leading hail loss consumer advocate Phil Coutu and his team of experts teach you how to avoid the pitfalls of hail damage claims and how to use his team of experts to get what you truly deserve under your insurance policy. Now, here's your host of Insurance Claim Radio, Phil Coutu.
Hi, this is Phil Coutu, and you're live with Insurance Claims Radio. We're a program, a consumer advocate program, where we try to help the public figure out their insurance claims. Today we're going to be speaking regarding some stuff going on in Colorado. We are nationwide. I'm your host, Phil Coutu. I'm the owner of rooftop.roofing.com, powerappraisers.com, and poweradjusters.com. I personally specialize in large loss commercial claims, complex claims, most often claims where you feel your insurance company hasn't been honorable or has underpaid you, missed damages, or is recommending repairs. We're live right now. We've got some great guests in the studio. I almost said office there. We got Stevie, former shingle rep for a prominent manufacturer. He's on board today. We've got Mike Neely from Pro Roof Solutions. Mike specializes in commercial and residential roofing. Check him out. That's Pro Roof Solutions. And we've got another guest, a prominent attorney from the Denver metro area that does claims all down the Front Range. He specializes in commercial and some residential. And that's Keith Frankel with the Frankel Law Firm. Keith, what's your website?
It is Frankel Law Firm, three words put together, Frank with an L, lawfirm.com. And I'm happy to help people out.
So we're going to start off. Keith wanted to speak about a recent decision that came down. It's gone all the way to the Colorado Supreme Court, and it affects you, the consumer out there, on commercial and residential claims. And Keith, you want to open up and talk about what happened at the Supreme Court regarding property insurance. And this, let me set it up. This is a hail claim, right, that went into appraisal.
That's so right, Phil. What we have is a situation where your policy provides that you can do something short of a lawsuit. You can get together and get your own advocate, like an arbitration, where you have an arbitrator, the other side has an arbitrator, and then they pick a third neutral. For years, each side's advocate was just that. They were trying to make the neutral party see things their way. The policyholder's advocate would advocate for the policyholder. The insurance advocate would advocate for the insurance company. And then the neutral umpire would make the decision. Well, that changed just a few weeks ago. Now, there's going to be a lot less of that type of process. It's just a little, which is a lot easier for a policyholder than going to court. Now, if you do appraisal, everyone has to be as saintly as anyone, and they have to be totally unbiased. And as a practical matter, it really makes appraisal or arbitration very difficult.
And let's talk about why it makes it difficult. So this is your host, Phil Coutu, and I've done over 250 appraisals. And the reason it makes it difficult is because it's a small network of experts on both sides. So I've done appraisals for the insurance industry, and I've done appraisals independently for the policyholder. And it's problematic because you got a small number of people. Overall, it is getting a little bit bigger, but there's a lot more appraisals in Colorado. And the big problem is that everybody knows everybody, and everybody's done past work. So it's going to make appraisal a little bit more dicey, I think is the best word, and problematic, which will make it easier for both sides to challenge, which really circumvents what the appraisal clause is designed to do. And I want to read to the public, this is contained in all or most Colorado policies, the standard appraisal clause for Colorado, and it simply says this in your policy. If you and we fail to agree on the amount of loss, either may demand an appraisal of the loss. Should this occur, each party will choose a competent and disinterested appraiser within 20 days after receiving a written request from the other. The appraisers will choose a competent and disinterested umpire within 15 days. If they cannot agree upon an umpire within that time frame, you or we may request an umpire be appointed by a judge of a court of record in the state where the insured premises is located. The appraisers will separately set the amount of loss. If the appraisers submit a written report of an agreement to us, the amount agreed upon will be the amount of loss. If the appraisers fail to agree within a reasonable time, they will submit their differences to the umpire. A written agreement signed by any two of these three will set the amount of loss, and each party will pay its own appraisers. So think about that. It's just basically saying that you hire your own appraiser, the insurance company hires the appraiser, you're supposed to be independent and unbiased. Any two, once they decide an umpire that agree, sets the amount of loss, and the insurance company has to pay that amount. So we're going to take a quick break. You're live with Insurance Claims Radio, and we'll be back right after the break.
You're listening to Insurance Claim Radio. Be sure to stay tuned. We'll be right back after these important messages.
Do you have a commercial property hail claim, troubled claim, underpaid claim, missed damages, bad faith, possible legal action? Rooftop Restoration is a leading hail loss consumer advocate for poorly handled insurance claims. We specialize in hail damage, large commercial claims, and provide the total claims package risk-free. We pay and cover all expert costs. Engineers, attorneys, roof inspectors, adjusters, we get you what you deserve under your insurance policy. Finance large deductibles, finance all the experts, exceptional experience and a stellar reputation with zero out-of-pocket costs. Risk-free. Rooftop Restoration, 303-997-4247, 303-997-4247. Check us out at rooftop-restoration.com.
Welcome back to Insurance Claim Radio. Now, here's Phil Coutu and his team.
Hi, we're back with Insurance Claims Radio. We're speaking about appraisal. We just finished reading out the appraisal clause, and we're talking about why it makes it problematic. And we're going to let Keith jump in here, our attorney, Franco Law, based on the Front Range of Colorado. I think, Keith, you actually do all of Colorado.
That's right. I've been all over this state. It's a beautiful state, and it's just a pleasure to help people keep their property looking good.
Yeah. So, and we're talking about, like, because of this decision that came down, it's really going to affect both sides. And being a former adjuster, I still am a regular adjuster, I just haven't worked for the insurance companies of late, is really problematic because disinterested, unbiased, competent, impartial, you put these all together with the decision that just came down in Dakota Ridge.
Yes.
It's really problematic. And let's, Keith, talk about why that's so problematic now and how those words are going to come in to effectuate a lot more appraisals being challenged or vacated, and then who also has the money to do it.
Right. So now with the new standard, which says that each appraiser, including the umpire, not just the umpire, the guy in the middle who's supposed to be really neutral, but each appraiser must be as neutral as a judge hearing your case in court, as neutral as the guy who's going to sentence you to jail. That's the standard now. And frankly, it's tough to be trained to be a contractor and to be a judge. It takes too much schooling. So in reality, everyone who's been doing appraisal has spent most of their time learning how to fix what needs to be fixed and how much it costs and how to explain this to everyone. Now you have to be a judge. As a practical matter, this makes it tough. So what do we do about it, Phil? That's a great question. What we do is you either have to go to court or find, through an expert like Phil or some of our other experts here, a truly neutral appraiser that you can use a few times. Otherwise, the only other good news about this decision is if you've been on the wrong end of an appraisal decision, please contact a lawyer. We can now probably set it aside if the appraisers didn't act the way the Supreme Court said they should act.
Hey, Keith, I was just, this is Mike with Pro Solutions. Why would a customer or a client want to go to appraisal, and what is the definition of appraisal?
Well, the reason you want to go to appraisal is it's quicker and cheaper. And it really was for many years. And insurers frequently lost in appraisal. And it was a great way to bring justice without having to wait for years.
Well, and let's add to that appraisal, which we've used at our company, and I've been on both sides, guys. So everybody out there know I used to work for the insurance industry. I still consult with a few people in the insurance industry, but a lot of times I'm representing policyholders now. It just happens I'm on that side of the fence a little bit more. And what appraisal in simple terms is used for is, let's say that your insurance company you finally end up getting agreement on the scope of damages. They totaled your roof, your gutters, windows, but they say it's $11,000, and your contractor's saying to put everything back to the same likeness pre-storm conditions at $25,000. Well, there's a pretty big discrepancy there. So you could hire your appraisers and it would set the amount of loss. If 2 or 3 of the parties agree, you've got a loss that's set. So if you did want to go after the insurance industry, if you felt you were really wronged, it's one less thing when you go to trial to be fighting over what the true cost is. You had an independent panel, or supposedly an independent panel, set the amount of loss. So maybe your contractor is $25,000, insurance company's at 10, and they settle on 19. That's your loss now. Now you're not spending money and attorney's fees trying to figure out what those costs are. And I call it the dog and pony show, experts against experts. So that's where it's really valuable, and it's very valuable on big claims. And the problem now with this recent decision, which we're going to get into with Keith more and more for the next few shows, is that it didn't really clarify anything, did it, Keith? It might have muddied the waters more than anything.
Well, that's right, because even though we look at this decision and it says about as clearly as a judge can say something, that each person in this process must be unbiased, disinterested, and without prejudice, and unswayed by personal interest. What does that mean? I really can tell you that lawyers can argue about anything, and we will. So, with that in mind, I can tell you that the fight will go on, and if you have a big commercial claim and you want to go to appraisal, and you still can, you just need special help with the lawyer standing over your shoulder saying, do that, don't do that, do that. And that way you can make it through.
And that's a good point. So Keith brings up, I think it's more important than ever now that your contractors aren't giving you a list of appraisers. I think it's more important to rely on your attorney to come up with that list, because it's going to be attacked. And Keith, who do you think is going to do most of the attacking? Do you think it's the policyholder's side or the insurance company side that's going to be attacking the appraisals, and why?
Well, you raise a very good question there, Phil. The simple truth is that the party with the most to lose is the insurance company, because they're the ones saying, talk to the hand. They're the ones wearing the blinders. So they are going to spend their money to fight any appraisal that is not going their way. And they've done that for years. And this latest decision is just part of that campaign.
And let's walk through what exactly happened in that decision. Was the appraisal award vacated? What happened?
Okay, the way our system works is somewhat slowly in the judicial system. And it started out with an appraisal where the insurance company went from virtually nothing to a very large award that even their appraiser agreed on. And even still, there was a difference between the policyholder's number and the insurance company's appraiser's number. And eventually, the award reflected the higher number. So the insurance company decided to attack. And they moved to set this aside. A trial court said, you know what, nobody's completely fair. Nobody's completely unbiased. The reason each side hires someone to advocate for them is they want them to be something of an advocate. That's why you have a neutral umpire in the middle, just so like there's an umpire in baseball. Well, unfortunately, for the insurance company, they lost at the trial court level. And then they appealed, and they went up to our Court of Appeals, and they lost again. But then they appealed to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court of Colorado took a long time to come up with this decision. And it's a split decision. So two equally brilliant judges can look at the same facts and the same law, just like the United States Supreme Court. And they came up with this decision that will make it tougher on some people and will require lawyers to guide you through the process as you go.
So, Keith, you mentioned they said that one cannot be an advocate. How then, if an appraiser is working mostly for the insurance industry and getting paid by them, or an appraiser is working mostly as a public adjuster or for the policyholder side, does that not in essence make them an advocate?
It is, as I said, lawyers can argue anything, and you've raised a good point. And yes, that can be an argument. The question is whether a judge agrees with the argument. My opinion is that just because they've done a little work together isn't a big deal. The question is how much work they've done together.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick break there. I'm your host, Phil Coutu. I'm with RooftopRoofing.com, PowerAppraisers.com, PowerAdjusters.com. We are a nationwide company that specializes in large loss claims. And we've got Mike here, who specializes in residential and commercial Pro Roof Solutions, and Keith Frankel from the Frankel Law Firm. And we will be right back.
You're listening to Insurance Claim Radio. Be sure to stay tuned. We'll be right back after these important messages.
Do you have a commercial property hail claim, troubled claim, underpaid claim, missed damages, bad faith, possible legal action? Rooftop Restoration is a leading hail loss consumer advocate for poorly handled insurance claims. We specialize in hail damage, large commercial claims, and provide the total claims package risk-free. We pay and cover all expert costs. Engineers, attorneys, roof inspectors, adjusters, we get you what you deserve under your insurance policy. Finance large deductibles, finance all the experts, exceptional experience and a stellar reputation with zero out-of-pocket costs. Risk-free. Rooftop Restoration, 303-997-4247, 303-997-4247. Check us out at rooftоprestoration.com. Hi,
Welcome
we're back
to
and we're
Insurance
live
Claim Radio.
here
Now, here's
with
Phil Coutu and
Insurance
his team.
Claims Radio. We're discussing appraisal. We got Mike Neely, Pro Roof Solutions, Keith Frankel, Frankel Law Firm, who handles the entire state of Colorado. And we're talking about appraisal. We used to use appraisal as a really good mechanism to establish a fair amount. And we really used it also to establish damages. Insurance company might get into coverages, but if you had a hail loss and your insurance company said your roof's repairable, appraisal was great to establish, is it repairable or is it totaled? But we've had a new decision come down to Dakota Ridge in Colorado, went all the way to the Supreme Court. And it's challenging the definition of an appraiser. And it's kind of even actually clouded the waters because some people might think it clarified the waters because it widened the scope of what an appraiser can't do. But on the other hand, it really, the way it's worded, kind of opens it up where the attorneys can fight about who's biased, who's impartial, who's disinterested. So we're speaking about that. So basically, we're kind of talking about that's going to be a little bit harder for the whole appraisal industry to go to appraisal now. Do you agree, Keith?
It is indeed going to be harder. And from now on, everyone has to be walking on eggshells and very careful about everything they say and do. They've got to be very careful about their prior relationship with any of the contractors or public adjusters involved in the claim. There's a way to do it, but it's extra work.
So, Keith, what's your feeling about a public adjuster doing appraisals? Are they not going to be attacked because they're being an advocate mostly for the policyholder when they're a public adjuster? Are they not going to be attacked now as being not a neutral, unbiased appraiser since they're handling all those troubled claims?
There's no question that people are going to be attacked, including public adjusters. And the question is whether a judge agrees with that attack, because a judge will get to decide whether or not, just because you've been an advocate in the past, you can't be impartial now.
So then let's talk about if you're working for the insurance industry, you were an adjuster, and now you're an appraiser or expert for the insurance industry doing a bunch of appraisals. who's going to attack the insurance side?
Well, everyone, especially experts like yourself, Phil. Phil Coutu has a great deal of knowledge of how these appraisal panels work and has seen that both sides are biased. It's human nature. We all are advocates. It's human nature. And either side can be attacked. And that's very important to keep in mind, that just because this decision came down and scared some people, it shouldn't scare everyone off. There are ways to deal with this.
So let's talk about the side. Let's talk about both sides now being attacked. So Keith, thank you for the compliments, Keith, but Keith's referring to a case I had on an appraisal where I was the public adjuster. So I wasn't actually attacked as the PA, but I was attacked as the public adjuster, and the appraiser was attacked. And it was an intense case, went on for almost 2 years. And the big thing that I learned out of that, because the case cost me and the other appraiser combined, I think, around $800,000 in defense fees. So therefore, when you ask your appraiser why they're charging $350 or $400 or $200 an hour, there might be a reason, because people are always like, wow, Phil, you're charging $400 an hour. And I'm like, yes, sir. But there's a lot of expense because we're fighting for you, often the small guy, or we're fighting for the insurance. The main thing is that we need to be neutral. But you get attacked. And so what I want to bring, since I've worked for the insurance industry, and I still consult with them, and I also work for the other side, I think the biggest problem that the side representing the policyholder is going to be facing is the amount of money. Because how are you going to expect a homeowner to stand up to a corporation that has very deep pockets like the insurance industry? Isn't going to be kind of one-sided?
And this is very important for all you homeowners out there to know, that many contractors are willing to fight for you. They are willing to do it, but not for free. So here's the basic deal. A contractor may come to you and say, we will do your necessary repairs, but you have to basically give us your insurance claim and work with us so that years later we can hold the insurance company accountable. What's going to happen? Well, you as the policyholder are going to profit in the short term by having the needed work done for the right price. But the contractor long term is going to end up getting paid a fair amount when they win ultimately in court, if they can show that the insurance company acted unreasonably.
You know, and let's talk about unreasonable, because sometimes I've been out there and people are like, oh, Phil, you're on this side. You do a lot more work on this side now. And I'm like, well, it's true. However, there's times I step on claims. I just stepped on one for an attorney, nobody that's on this panel. There was 2 public adjusters involved and 1 roofing contractor, and they wanted to vacate appraisal and challenge it. And they asked me to go out and give a neutral opinion. Now, they're thinking my opinion is going to come back in favor of them because I'm also a public adjuster, and we do that's a lot of work more for the policyholder. And I went out there, and what they failed to forget is also I was an adjuster for many, many years, and I still carry a regular adjuster's license, and I still consult with insurance. And I was out there, and I looked at it, and I told the attorney, you have to be out of your mind to challenge this vacating the award. It should be vacated. And he was like, but I got 2 prominent public adjusters. And I said, well, let me tell you, the damage is really light. I ran a historical run on the buildings, and we have like 5 hailstorms with bigger hail in previous dates that was never fixed. I went and looked at the direction and looked at all the paint damage. A lot of it is at the back patio doors where garbage cans are and the kids have their bicycles and stuff. And sure, when the attorney gets that, he's looking at those pictures, and it looks like hail damage. Handlebars on bikes chip the paint on the James Hardy siding or your siding if it's painted. Looks a lot like hail damage. If you take those pictures, and the public adjusters sell themselves, because remember, the public adjuster, you have to really have someone who's neutral, because a public adjuster is on a percentage fee. And sometimes, I know a lot of PAs, they cannot see the forest through the trees, and be honest. So I want to say, like, I think advocacy is important. I will stand up to an insurance company, or I will stand up for them when I think there's a misjustice. Because as an adjuster, the insurance company doesn't owe you for something that's not legitimate. They're not there to do a maintenance program. But when the insurance company doesn't pay for legitimate damage, that's when you should stand up. So I advised this attorney that this is just not a good claim, and you're crazy. First, it's hard to vacate. an appraisal award or overturn it when it was vacated. So he would be spending a whole bunch of money, but I'm like, the damage isn't there. This is not real damage from the data loss you are claiming. And therefore, I think you should abandon this, and I think the right decision was made. Excuse me. And I think that's really important in our practice, to really be able to step back and go, do I want this? And I want to caution everybody out there. I think it's important when you're dealing with an attorney, a contractor, a roofer, a GC, a roofer, an appraiser, or a public adjuster, you really want to do your due diligence. You want to make sure that attorney is doing mostly their work from insurance, and they specialize in your type of case, and they have experience going to trial. Anybody can jump on. You'll sometimes go on an attorney's website. There'll be 30 things listed. I think it should probably be down to 4, 5, or 6, and you want them, when you're doing your stuff, it should be really still in that area. If it's insurance claims, it should be medical practice. They should be doing the bulk of their work in that area. It's very important, and they need to have the track record, because websites and all the flash looks amazing these days. You want to get someone with experience, and that's one thing we pride ourselves on in this panel. Mike's been in the contracting business, 30 plus years with Pro Roof Solutions, and Keith Frankel, I don't know, he's a young, probably Keith, how old are you, 60, 55?
I am 63 years old, and during that time, I have taught other lawyers. I have worked for the Trial Lawyers Association, working to file briefs with the appellate courts, because there's something you have to keep in mind. One of the reasons you need help from everyone is that sometimes insurance companies make mistakes, but judges make mistakes, appraisers make mistakes. We're here to minimize those potential problems.
All right, we're going to wrap this up for this show today. You're live with Insurance Claims Radio. I'm your host, Phil Coutu. If you want to speak to any of the people on the panel, you can contact me at 720-296-3492 or text me at 720-296-3492, and we'll see you in our next show. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Insurance Claim Radio. For more information on how to maximize your hail damage insurance claim or to contact Phil and his team, call 303-997-4247. And be sure to tune in next week for more Insurance Claim Radio.
Do you have a commercial property hail claim, troubled claim, underpaid claim, missed damages, bad faith, possible legal action? Rooftop Restoration is a leading hail loss consumer advocate for poorly handled insurance claims. We specialize in hail damage, large commercial claims, and provide the total claims package risk-free. We pay and cover all expert costs. Engineers, attorneys, roof inspectors, adjusters, we get you what you deserve under your insurance policy. Finance large deductibles, finance all the experts, exceptional experience and a stellar reputation with zero out-of-pocket costs. Risk-free. Rooftop Restoration, 303-997-4247, 303-997-4247. Check us out at rooftop restoration.com.